everyone, it's Fiona Edgar here, and I'm back again with another quick video answering some questions that some of you have asked. So I'll just get right into it. And someone asked me if you have natal moon in Pisces and the transiting moon in Pisces, which it is today, is making a conjunction to that moon, but you also have Neptune, a long-term transit of Neptune conjuncting your moon. What does that mean? Well, first of all, Neptune conjunct moon is a real kind of, can be a very, well, it can be a deeply spiritual time. It can be a time when your intuitive and psychic abilities are like really, really strong, because Neptune is actually one of the most, psychic placements, or psychic planets. And it gives you those very strong, almost telepathic and claircognizant, spiritual gifts. So that is the plus side. It can be a deeply creative side for you to, create films or artwork or write or whatever, because you get that kind of inspiration, coming to you. But it is a time when you need to protect your boundaries. Be mindful of your own boundaries and just keep your energy shielded. So that brings me on to something else that someone mentioned about. I was talking yesterday about entities and how you protect yourself from those. And I did make the point that no matter what you do, no matter what you shield yourself with, like, salt or whatever, unless you're coming from a place with deep inside your soul, where you feel that you are strong and empowered, those things are not going to work. If they do work, it's going to be temporary. So for example, if you were someone who was abused when you were a child, or you're a fearful person and you've never resolved that, then salt, black salt, tourmaline, none of those things are going to have anything more than a temporary fix. The psychology has been taken out of occultism because of the New Age. If you went to a shaman, they would be addressing all of these issues, psychological as well as spiritual. So in the case of something like black tourmaline or black obsidian, it's literally, if you wear that on your person and you have an entity attached to your aura, which is where they are, you're simply keeping that entity in because you haven't taken any proper steps to address the fact that this entity is manifesting from because of an energy that you have within yourself. So the other thing they mentioned was a magical circle. A magical circle has the purpose of keeping. Sorry for all this moving around, like, tired of using my phone. I need to get a new webcam. A magical circle works by keeping an entity in and outside of the circle. This can work within rituals, but if you have a spirit, an entity attachment, and you cast magical circles all the time, it's not going to do anything. It's going to keep the entity in because it's in your energy. It's resonating from a deep wound that you have inside yourself, and unless you address that, then you're going to be like, this thing is just going to follow you everywhere and pretend sometimes not to be there when reality it is. So you can use stuff like salt and black stones to absorb negative energies. If you are, let's say you're in a crowd, or you work somewhere with negative people, well, once again, your best defense of that is going to be from your own energy. It's not going to be from any external object, spirit or whatever. It's you. It's coming from you. Everything that you see in external reality is a manifestation of something that's within you, and that is true. And I've had entity attachments. I'm speaking from experience here. And I had them years and years ago when I was like a sloppy occultist. So you get a lot of these people and they read a few books from E.A. Koetting and they think that they're fucking, this badass black magician. and they can quote all this stuff, but in reality, they can't get rid of anything, and they just have no idea what they're doing. And the psychology is removed from modern occultism and modern, New Age practices. It has to be a complete system to be effective. Now, something like the runes is actually a path of initiation, working with the spirit of each runes, but it's a complete system. So something like that is really going to help, because that's going to really work on you on a deeply psychological level, as well as a magical spiritual level. Okay, so someone else asked, how do you know if you want to get into paganism? How do you know which pantheon to work with? Well, first of all, yes, it does have to be ancestral. The reason being, if these gods were not in your DNA, if your ancestors haven't built up that energy over thousands and thousands of years through the land and through their spiritual practices with the gods, it's simply not going to work for you. And I know that we live in this universalist time where there's like a hodgepodge of spiritual practices, and people thinking that no matter where you're from, these gods are going to respond to you. It's nonsense, and it's got nothing to do with racism or elitism or anything like that. It's simply metaphysics, and this is the way the energy works. So if you are European, and there's like the Celtic gods, the Norse gods, Greek or Roman, I can't tell you which ones to work with. You have to let your intuition guide you. You have to let your spirit guide you. That's up to you. So it's all about personal choice and free will as well. And, you have to make those connections yourself. So I'm trying to think, were there any other questions? Someone asked about Mars and Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, and Uranus transiting through Taurus at the moment. So the first way we can see that manifesting is through the massive shake-up to the economy and the financial structures throughout the world, because like Lilith is like the ultimate shit stirrer. She comes in and she causes chaos, wreaks havoc, and that's what we're seeing. And this kind of archetype of Lilith, we're first of all seeing it from the people who want to cause like this great reset and converting our financial system into like some kind of globalist, like communist thing. But we're also seeing people starting to rebel against that. So some people are moving away from existing structures in which to earn money, like moving away from desk jobs. Maybe they had a job and they no longer do because of the circumstances of what we're going through. So there are people that can think outside of the box in a Uranian way and take action in a Mars way and refuse to conform in a way that is very typical of Lilith. They are coming up with their own ideas of, and ways to make money. Maybe they're creating unorthodox types of businesses, or they're just really reformulating that aspect, of their lives. So they're definitely not choosing to be a victim. So that's also got connected with like the entity thing I was telling you about. If you feel like a victim inside, and victimhood is positively glorified in today's society, if you feel like a weakling, a victim, woe is me, I have no control, and you are a magician or an occultist, that is exactly what you're going to manifest. You're going to manifest entities that will pick on you, will scare you, will fuck shit up, and that's all been largely ignored in today's kind of occult practices. The best thing that you can ever do for yourself is to get rid of those feelings of victimhood. Like work on yourself, work on those wounds. Why do you feel like a victim? Address that, because let me tell you, this whole like thing where they're saying, oh, this group of people is discriminated against and this happened to their ancestors, and these people are just, everything so awful is happening to them. Well, that's like a real deep form of psychic attack against those people, making them feel like they are, weak and downtrodden, and they have no strength and power. And their power comes from, their connection to another group of people, like whatever. Like I grew up in Ireland. The Irish people have been repressed, put down, exterminated. um, I grew up with terrorism all around me, bombs going off, and people like being shot because of their religion, and having to live in that secrecy and not being able to trust people. Well, I don't feel like a fucking victim, okay? I'm very strong, but it took me a long time to get to this point. And when I was dabbling in the occult, without addressing any of that, all I was manifesting was stuff that was connected to my wounds. So, yeah, that's the first place that anyone should start when you are experimenting with any kind of spiritual system. I think that's it. I apologize if I've forgotten anyone. I'm super busy, so I will try and make another video again soon, and address any other questions. So don't forget to check out my website. It's www.fionaedgar.com, and I will talk to you soon.